es la voz de LA. It's like Cuna, Galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell a hater shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goles during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans and for all you other soccer fans as well. You have a home here too. We love you just the same. But today, after what seems like an eternity, we are back with you through this long offseason as the MLS playoffs kick on without the LA Galaxy, and really they definitely missing. But that doesn't mean we don't have Galaxy news to share with you, as tons of new team info dropped these past 2 weeks, like team awards and roster decisions that just dropped today. WorshipLAGalaxy will be here to help us break down the official Galaxy year-end awards and roster decisions. If we agree with the calls from the team and who we would give those awards to and who we would bring back if we had the reins of the Galaxy. We'll also take a look at some salary numbers, check in on league-wide awards, and get you caught up on some transfer rumors. Plus, we award our Defending the Badge winner for the year. And if you're in chat already, go ahead and start dropping your candidates for Defending the Badge winner of the year. All that and more coming up on La Cuna Galaxiana. But before we go any further, let me go ahead and introduce myself. If this is your first time here, I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find my written work at the Sporting Tribune and Extra Time Talk. And, of course, you can always find me online on pretty much all the socials at El Escudero de LA. And back with us from the other land, the cosmopolitan one, the rich and famous one. Ooh, Chaw, his Arsenal are in first place. He feels like a bad man. Papa the Natita Ananda Kirana. Woo! Papa, welcome back.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. Still a little jet lag, but the show must go on, as they say. So glad we did the little episode last time to get things going. But yeah, back in the chair, back at the digs, pun intended. And yeah, man, a jam-packed show. I mean, this is the off season. We told you guys we wouldn't stop for the off season, that we'd keep going. There's obviously always, especially now in the transfer window season, there's always news that we got to attend to, and just a whole bunch of bombs dropped this morning. So we got to go through all that, and of course some awards as well. So it's going to be a jam-packed one, man. There's a lot of news going around, not only the LA Galaxy, the league. So this should be a fun one. And of course we've got an LCG debutant as well that'll make his debut, and we're excited to have him on for sure.
Yeah, man. I also love it when we have first timers on the show, because we get to ask them about their Galaxy fandom, or like their Galaxy come to Jesus moment and stuff. So super excited to talk to Worship here in a little bit. But like I mentioned, if this is your first time with us, we do appreciate you stopping by and listening to the Humble Little podcast. If you are one of the over 700 subscribers to this podcast, we do appreciate it. We do want to say thank you. Ananda owes a shot to every single one of you guys. And man, we keep on going. Hopefully you'll be part of the march to 800. Help us get there by the start of the season. And like I mentioned, Ananda will take a shot with you. So super chats are now available if you want to support this show, or if you want to get something off your chest or say something. Especially today is a good day for any hot takes you might have as we get into those roster decisions, and as we reveal what we learned at media availability, what seems to be the last one of 2025. If you're on X and Instagram, thank you so much for watching this show as it's streaming on those platforms. But it would mean the world to us if you could jump on over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button as well. And here is now, honestly, now I'm just kind of like doing it just because it's become a thing. I still have not verified that we were on Blue Sky, but Ananda has told me that we are, so I have not checked that. But and I will continue to not check that.
That's poor form from investigative journalists, man. By this point, we're like 8 shows in.
But I'm not an investigative journalist. I'm not an investigative journalist. No, those. I mean, at some point, I'll go ahead and hit up the Blue Sky.
That's some Liverpool form right there. Poor form, Papa.
Damn, you hit me with the Liverpool form. Sheesh. What, losing 6 of 7? Damn. No, that's terrible. But anyway, yes. Check us out on Blue Sky as well. And Ananda says we also have a Threads. So check us out there as well. Getting to some shout outs and announcements. But before we do that, Ananda, do you have anything else that you want to say? I mean, you got some housekeeping to get out of the way, right?
You kind of did it all for me. Just everyone that goes in, make sure you hit the likes. Do it before either on your way in or on your way out, guys. It doesn't cost you anything but a second and a half of your precious time. So if you could help us out, that would be awesome. Rob told you about hitting that subscribe button. And I guess the only thing I have to say is, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes, o noches. Y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de la Cuna Galaxiana. We are in the off season. It is still season 3, but season 4 is approaching very soon. And just want to say what's up to everyone in the chat. So let's go hit up those shout outs, Papa. We got a lot to get through.
Damn, season 4 and we haven't gotten canceled yet. Oh man, I'm excited for that. And yeah, I'm excited for that new Arquitekto hotness that's gonna bring us into season 4. Can't wait. Arquitekto shout out. Anyway, shout outs and announcements officially here. Happy Halloween, y'all. We want to just say wherever you're gonna be, whatever you're doing, stay safe out there, be smart, and get home safe. And we love y'all. And go ahead and send us what you're going to be for Halloween. Send us your costume. We would love to know. So there were some G's out and about already enjoying the off season. We have Edwin, Mauricio, and Tucker all at the WWE. And is this Flair? Is this Miss Flair here, Ananda? Do you know anything about wrestling?
I think so. Yeah, especially based off of the caption that the Galaxy posted with Drizo. Woo!
Oh, okay. Yeah, well then that makes sense here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Man, when I was a youngster, I used to watch her pop. Legend. Anyway, so the G's are like I said, enjoying their off season already. Episode 3 of Kobe Club is out with Marco Royce. That's out now. Kobe, you do a podcast, we do a podcast, collab sometime in the future. Who knows? Or you could come on this podcast. I too like to sit in chairs and look cool. So you can come on this show whenever you like. And then speaking of shows, check out the Soccer in 60 episode where our colleague and friend Gunnar Brent interviewed Greg Vanny. That one dropped, I believe, this week or last week. Lots of really good insight from this interview, including improvement areas for the roster, which we got into even more today. Gunnar was actually there at media availability as well, so we had an opportunity to talk to Greg at length. So anyway, we'll get into that, but check out Soccer in 60 and this segment with Greg to get a better feel on what he's thinking for next year on the roster. Reminder that the Galaxy will be playing Club America on November 15th at the Digs in what should be the last match of 2025. And you'll already not have one of these guys there in the picture on the roster. So, yeah, who knows who we'll be seeing that day. Reminder that as well that the CVI is kicking off on February 7th. That goes from the 7th to February 21st. There are 12 MLS teams participating in this one. Unfortunately, the Galaxy are not one of them. They are still awaiting the draw of the Champions Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup. That'll be happening on December 9th. Once they know what their draws, they could probably either formally bow out of the CVI or say, hey, yeah, we can definitely participate in that first weekend. And now, the moment you guys have been waiting for, really the moment you guys are all here. I know it's not really to listen to us. I know it's to listen to this homie, the first timer here on La Cuna Galaxiana, and we couldn't be more pleased that he's joining us. Thank you so much. It's our pleasure to bring to La Cuna Galaxiana for the first time, WorshipLAGalaxy. What's up?
6 times. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you so much, Ananda. Thank you so much, Rob, for accepting inviting myself onto the show. And well, I'm glad to talk about the Galaxy.
Vámonos. Well, that is definitely a nice way to ingratiate yourself with the Cuneros here, bringing up those 6 rings. Now, I do got to ask, I mean, getting all 6 of those rings was probably a little bit like Thanos getting the Infinity Stones. How did you end up getting all 6?
Well, the hardest one by far was definitely 2014, but I did do some trades around and sold some things. For example, like I got a painted bobblehead, then I sold it, and then someone was actually willing to let it go for $50. So
wow, yeah.
It actually wasn't that expensive because, you know, for example, like 2024 and 2005 were stadium giveaways, so I count them as free because they were with the ticket. So it wasn't really that expensive for me. I just had to look around.
Man, I am stuck at 4. So hopefully one day, you know, I'll come up lucky like yourself. But it's time to talk about the opposite of lucky, which is pretty much the Galaxy this year. We do something on the show. The one word reaction to either the match or, you know, in this case, we're going to ask you to give us a one word reaction to the Galaxy's season. And you can also alternate, like, you know, describe how you're feeling right now heading into the off season as well. So you can give us a one word reaction for the season, and then a one word to describe maybe how you feel going into 2026.
Well, I think the word I would use for the season would be inconsistent. I say inconsistent because, you know, there were many times of brilliance, and then there was much more times of, like, you know, misery and, you know, just straight up unlucky, which I think is very inconsistent. And going into the off season, I would say sell would be my word. Sell. Because I feel like there's people we need to let go, and then, you know, we have to bring back in, but primarily we have to sell.
Interesting. Well, we'll definitely touch on all that here in a moment, because we'll be talking about roster decisions and all that kind of stuff. But now let's talk about you. Let's talk a little bit more about you. Let's get into it, man. How did you fall in love with this team that Ananda and I called La Toxica? You may have a different nickname for the Galaxy, but for us it's La Toxica. How did you fall in love with this LA Galaxy team? What was your I used to love her moment?
Well, I've been a fan since birth because my dad was actually a Galaxy fan, and I was born the same year as, I think, a month before 2005, before we won 2005. And well, the first final I actually remember was 2014. Because I remember that Robbie Keane goal, even though I was 9, I think. Yeah, I was 9 years old back then. But I started getting deep into the Galaxy probably like late 2023 because, you know, well, because of the whole Ricky Push, the 4th of July game, the one where Ricky Push scored the winner. And then, you know, 2024, you know, I started getting more and more. Then we won MLS Cup. And then that's when I decided I'll make WorshipLAGalaxy.
Well, it's a nice way to go ahead and get into the Galaxy, man, because that is, I mean, that's, I believe in Game of Thrones they call it like the days of summer, right? Like Ricky Puig is out there and balling, winning titles, and then now we're in this.
And now
we're in this moment.
Winter has come. Officially.
Winter has come, but
right.
Let's try to keep it on the positive tip. But we also do something here called word association. So I'm gonna go ahead and say a name to you, and you are going to tell us the first word that pops into your head, like the very first thing you think of. It's got to be quick, automatic. But you do have one pass. So like, if I say something and you're like, oh no, I'm about to say something that's gonna get me in trouble, you can say pass. Hard pass.
Yeah, so that'll get if it'll get you canceled on Instagram, then you have a hard pass. So
all right, but you only get one. You only get one though.
Or talking Galaxy. Shout out LA Galaxy Buzz. Either or, like if you're like I'm gonna get kicked off of that show, then Yeah.
Well, we're gonna serve you up with the softball here. We were just talking about him, Ricky Puig.
Goat.
Go.
Hey.
We've talked to some people that know ball this season on this podcast, and they all seem to think that Ricky Puig coming back makes this Galaxy team instant contenders again. I put this man on here before we got the news about roster decisions today. So once a G, always a G. Miguel Berry.
Substitution. That's
not a
neutral
description. Yeah, I mean,
pretty much what he was.
Miguel was a sub for the most part. I just want to say I want to stop this moment and say hello, Miggy Gris. It's been a moment, sir. And then now we continue with the name. This is also kind of another softball, but Cosmo.
Alien.
Yep.
Alien. Yeah.
That he is.
Also an apt description. I've called this next guy a dog. He's just one of those intense players. I love the fact that he got a contract extension. Tucker Lepley.
Young.
That he is.
Probably. Yep.
Next one. This one might be one of those ones that you want to pass on. Who knows? We don't know where you sit on this particular subject. Greg Vanny.
Stay.
Oh, it's pretty decisive. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I give him half a season.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair. That's a lot more than I actually gave him, Mananda. What did I say? 10 games?
Something like that. Yeah, we might maybe we'll bring that up because there's definitely been some coaching moves around the league this year, so that are counter to that idea. So there you go. But keep going, Baba. This is good.
Okay. Another man. It's funny because I have Twitter pulled up on another screen, and I'm actually looking at this man right now holding up last year's trophy. Voted Galaxy Player of the Year this year, and now he's not on contract with them. Diego Fagundes.
Warrior.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty pro Diego. I hope they come to a solution here.
Absolutely.
Another man that we spoke to today, Ananda. We'll talk to. We'll give you guys more details on what he told us. But pretty much el presidente, Will Kuntz.
Businessman.
Okay.
I mean, he does do some good business, Baba. He does do some good business. Hopefully, he'll do better business this offseason because we need it.
Yeah. No. Well, we'll get into that too.
Yep.
We don't want to spoil anything. We just, we learned some stuff today.
We're putting the feelers out there.
Right.
We're trying to see where Brandon. Or Worship kind of sits.
You can call me both. I don't mind.
In the sphere, right? We're trying to see where you are because now we're getting a better feel for where you side with some of these issues. So there you go. We got the last one here, Baba.
All right, last one is last year's MLS Newcomer of the Year, Gabriel Pecky.
Brasileiro.
All right. Brasileiro, he was just coming off of the field from practice today, Ananda, when we got to speak to him. He was still still sweating, man. And he was nice enough to stop by and talk to us. Anyway, let's get into some news, man. While the Galaxy have been doing, what they've been doing in the offseason, there's still teams playing right now, Worship, and there's a lot of good games that have been happening, and we are going to tell you about them. Sunday night, the playoffs continued from the wildcard games with Philly versus Chicago. That one was tied 2-2 after regulation. Jack Elliott tied it in injury time, got that second goal, and then Philly went on to win in penalties 4-2. Now Game 2 is Saturday, November 1st at 2:30. I want to send my condolences to the homie Jose, a.k.a. Bromigos, because his Dallas team was very soundly beat by Vancouver. The Whitecaps pretty much swept away Dallas 3-0. Game 2 is also on the 1st on Saturday at 6:30. And then I got to eat crow on this one because I really didn't think that San Diego was going to go out and take care of business. They, as an expansion team, I thought that this experienced team might catch up with them. But they went out against Portland in their first ever playoff game, and they beat the Timbers 2-1 at home. And that's, any chance that the Timbers had of getting back into this one was kind of shot when Jim Rafori got a red card in 66th. Game 2 is also on Saturday, November 1st at 6:30. Monday night saw just two matches, Cincy versus Columbus, and the hell is real. That one, Cincy beat Columbus 1-0. Deke was the star in that one. He came up big, a big signing, a big man for the big moment. Game 2 is Sunday at 3:30. Minnesota surprisingly beat Seattle 0-0 after regulation, and Minnesota wins that one 3-2 in penalties. Also, this one is on Monday, November 3rd at 7:30. In the Tuesday night matches, there was just one. Charlotte played NYCFC, and then the visitors snuck off with a 1-0 win, and that one is probably the quickest turnaround at all the matches, guys. This one was on Tuesday night, and the other leg is on Saturday, November 1st, or Game 2, rather. Saturday at 12:30. And then in last night's matches, last night, depending on when you're listening to this. If you're listening to this live, it's last night. Again, multiverse stuff, guys. But anyway, on Wednesday, yesterday, LAFC played Austin, and that was the night's only match. LAFC ended up winning that one 2-1. LAFC got an own goal for the opener that put them up 1-0. Game 2 is now Sunday, November 2nd at 5:30 p.m. And while the playoffs are going on, guys, there is already stuff happening around other teams. And as Ananda likes to call it, the MLS coaching carousel has begun. The Rapids and Chris Armas mutually parted ways after no agreement was reached in negotiations. That's per our colleague Matt Pollard from Burger du Wave. And the New York Red Bulls also parted ways with Sando Schwartz. There was 8 coaching changes in 2025. Could Oscar Pareja be next? Let us know in the comments, guys. Let us know who you think the next coach in MLS to be on the outs is going to be. Who could be the next free agent, basically. Let us know in the comments, guys. And Ananda, this is probably when this news broke. I was like, Jesus Christ, Ananda's going to have a field day with this. This is basically just like a data dump. He's going to love this. So tell us about some MLSPA false salaries, man.
I mean, yeah, this is a data dump. Basically, like, I'll let you, because I know you did a little analysis on this as well, so I got to give you some credit. But this is basically Ben Wright did this, so shout out Ben Wright, who did this analysis for basically how MLS clubs spend their money on their roster. So you can take a look at that chart there. And if you go to his Twitter, I think it's Ben Wright or at Ben Wright, something like that. You could see this chart, and it's pretty interesting. It basically lays out, like, it parses out what clubs spend percentage-wise on DPs, U22s, TAMs, homegrowns, and the rest of their roster. And then he did another chart here as well to see, he overlaid that with like how efficiently do teams spend. So on the left-hand side, it's how much money per point are they getting? And then on the bottom there, it's how much money per goal scored, which is interesting. So Rob, you want to go through the takeaways kind of one by one?
Yeah. Obviously I'm not the stats guy like Ananda, but there was a couple of things that I pulled away from this in that, we've always talked about on this podcast about like different game models, Worship, and different ways that teams construct teams. And so, I'm gonna basically lay this out for you, man, and then you tell me at the end what part of the business model you think is failing the Galaxy the most. I mean, on this breakdown, you see that the Galaxy are spending 56% of their budget on DPs, 1% on homegrown players, which is not surprising. They don't typically employ a lot of the homegrown players in the first team, 17% on TAM players, 7% on U22 players. The Galaxy have 2 players in the highest earners list, Ricky Puig making 5.779 mil, and Joseph Paintso making 4.182 mil. By contrast, this Porter showed winner Philadelphia Union are the most efficient spenders in the league with just 203,500K per point earned, and the Galaxy are rather by contrast, they are spending about 741,890 per point. They also are spending just a shade under 500K per goal scored, at 12,420,000. Yeah, that's about 56% spent on their DPs, and this is a team that wound up in last place. So, Worship, hearing these numbers, man, a team that spent about 500K per goal this year, where's it gone wrong? I mean, the data doesn't lie. So, what do you think?
I think the midfield. The midfield is supposed to be creating dangerous chances, through a ball to Joseph Paintso and trying to get Gabriel Peck free. Now, when you have a midfield consistent of Surreal doing everything in the back, a slow Royce, and a kind of slow Fagundes, you're not going to get many chances, which is why we haven't scored many goals. And that, on top of the fact that Gabriel Peck hasn't been on form, it's a burden on us that we haven't scored many goals. And, Joseph Paintso, he pretty much put up the same numbers as last year, but, when you don't have an on-form team, it's really hard to score goals, I would say. And this statistics doesn't lie, and it's pretty accurate.
Ananda, what are your big takeaways, man?
Honestly, my big takeaway out of all this, Papa, has nothing to do with this data, funnily enough. And you know me, I'm a data guy, right?
Okay.
Like, I look at this and I say, okay, like, the data can tell you a story, but here's another story that the data is not telling you. LA Galaxy's DP utilization this year is 47.9% per corner of the Galaxy. So, of course, you're going to spend 56% of your total salary on DPs, but you're only going to get a 47% utilization rate. Whereas if you saw last year in 2024, that utilization rate, I don't know, you're going to have to look at corner of the Galaxy's stat there from last year, because he's, Josh is always up on that stat, but our DP utilization was 89%, right? Somewhere around that number. So I think what this data is not telling you is the fact that we had an injured MVP caliber player on the bench the whole year. And so that's obviously going to contribute to the lack of goal production. And that's something that this chart isn't telling you. And the other thing too is like, and this is like, maybe, I don't know if I'm being like a little cynical today or what, but I'm going to put my fan hat on for a second and say that, do you guys actually really care how much teams spend if your team's winning? Right?
Nah.
Like, and I think that's the thing, right? Because like Philly, for example, okay, like, do you get a trophy for being the most efficiently spent team? Not really, as long as you win trophies, right? Supporter Shield, that's a huge achievement for that team, by the way. But
it's like, you for success, though. I mean, if
It
you're
is.
if you're spent, I mean, no, you're not wrong. Like, it shouldn't be like celebrated, like, oh, Philly's spending so efficiently, but they're
Yeah.
you know, you gotta praise the business model because they just won Supporter Shield, you know, so they're doing something right. You know,
look, at some level, again, I don't want to be too hyperbolic. Yes, at some level, these things do matter, and it matters on how you run your organization. Because you take the same case of like Montreal, for example, that's probably spent a very similar amount to Philly, and if I was a Montreal fan, I would be very upset with the lack of spend, the lack of investment in that roster. So yes, those things are definitely true. But at the end of the day, like, these are fun numbers and fun little stats for stats geeks like myself to look at, and they're fun to look. But like, I take a step back and I say, is what we're spending winning me championships or winning me games on the pitch? And again, in the Galaxy's case, I think there's got to be a huge asterisk on that number because of low DP utilization. And you know, this league, Rob, this league, you have to have high DP utilization to even be in the conversation of being a winner or being a title contender, right? So, I think that's one thing we have to keep in mind with the LA Galaxy. And remember, our number, that 40 under 50% utilization, also had to do with the fact that Joseph Paintsville only played 1,800 minutes this year, versus last year he came into the season injured. So again, we've got to account for these things. And I think that this only tells one side of the story, in my opinion. That's my big takeaway, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and I'm sure, you know, Worship and Chat would agree. I mean, you have to have the entire picture to be able to paint that, and you're right. You don't see that reflected in these numbers, right? So, you know, it's like with everything, context. So, but these numbers give context to the very next thing that we're going to be talking about. We're going to really get Worship's opinion on a lot of these. Galaxy roster decisions came down today. 17 players already under contract for the Galaxy for 2026, and then they exercised contract options on defenders John Nelson, Mo Cuevas, and midfielders Tucker Lepley, Isaiah Parente, and Gino Vivi. They, however, declined contract options on forward Miguel Berry, defender Eric Zavaleta, and midfielder Diego Fagundes. According to the release and Will Kuntz, the club is still in negotiations with Fagundes about returning in 2026. According to Will Kuntz as well, the Galaxy are working with Botafogo to retain Mateus Nascimento for the 2026 season. I guess he's looking at making that another year loan. Worship, you've seen this come down. I'm sure there are some surprises in here for you. I'm sure there were some moments you were like, really? Him? What was your biggest surprise from this? What was your biggest takeaway from this?
Well, I'm gonna contrast and say that Miguel Berry and Zavaleta not being extended was not a surprise to me, because right now we need to rebound from last year's fiasco of a window where we had to, you know, let go of players that we did not want to let go, and now we have to, you know, open the wage gap. You know, we have to open the salary cap. So I think letting go of Berry and Zavaleta is, I think, the correct decision here. And it surprises me that well, Christian Ramirez was actually extended himself. I didn't know where that was going, but hey, I mean, I'll take it. The only thing is, how will they play Christian Ramirez? Will they play him as a backup or will they play him as a starter? Because this is assuming we're going to get another 9 if Nascimento isn't signed permanently for $7 million, which for MLS, that's a big buck. So, I think the roster decisions, I think so far the Galaxy have got it right. Fagundes with the whole, he makes $1.25 million a year and they're trying to give him a pay cut. So I don't know how much of a pay cut he's willing to accept, but even, taking $400K from him, that's a lot of money for him. That's a lot of money. And still he would be making $825K. So do we keep Fagundes? Do we not? Because I think for Fagundes, it is a win-win situation for the Galaxy, whether they retain him or not. Because if you don't retain him, you'd have $1.25 million in salary cap money for other players. But if you do retain him, again, it would be at a cheaper price.
Well, yeah, I mean that's hopefully what Will Kuntz is trying to get happening over the line, right? So that was your biggest surprise, or was that your biggest takeaway?
The biggest surprise to me was definitely Christian Ramirez, 100%.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to get extended, you know, especially with the whole salary cap problem we had last year. You know, I was trying to take that into consideration, you know, because I thought we were gonna, like, you know, start letting go of many players who were out of contract to get that money back. So yeah, Christian Ramirez definitely my biggest surprise.
What about you, Ananda?
Well, I was gonna just ask on that real quick to both of you. Do you guys think Christian Ramirez is I guess it could be an asset that we could move in like a cash for trade deal in the future? Or do you think that, I mean, we're actually gonna, you know, invest in him and see if he can be a solid backup striker? What do you guys think?
To be honest, if he has a future with the Galaxy, it's as a backup. Greg was pretty definitive on it. He let us know. He said we had 3 9s last year. They combined for 7 goals. Not good enough, unacceptable. So, like I said, if he stays, it's probably as a backup. And from the sound of it, it was kind of like one of those things that was built into his contract. That it was kind of like an automatic extension.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
didn't know.
we did try to get clarity on that from Will, because the way he phrased it was kind of funny. So then somebody asked to follow up on that, and they were like, "Well, what do you mean it was, you know, it was an automatic extension?" And so anyway, like it doesn't sound like the Galaxy actually went out and said, "Christian, we're extending your contract." It sounds more like it was something built into his contract that said, "This is a 2-year deal," right?
Yeah.
So, so that's, you know, one of the things, you know, we learned. I mean, I'll get into a little bit more here, but what was that your biggest takeaway or your biggest surprise?
I think that was my biggest surprise was Christian Ramirez. I think Gino Vivi too. The fact that we have to spend an international slot on him, he didn't really get much playing time. So what are we doing there?
Today? He let us know
green card, right?
Yeah. He should be getting his green card here within a couple months.
But again, like he hasn't played for this club in what, better part of 2 years, basically. So I don't know. I think that's an interesting one. Maybe that's, you know, preserving or protecting value. I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure.
I spoke to Will on that one, and
okay.
I asked him specifically about Gino Vivi, and he said that, you know, he hasn't, you know, really gotten a look, and so sounds like he's gonna get a shot.
Yeah, and you know, again, we might be able to protect his value, right? Because, for example, Johnny Perez, like we sold him. I forgot what the number was exactly or what that transaction was, but you know, now he's a $400,000 player for Nashville, for example, after his extension. So, but the Ramirez one was also a surprise because just looking at, let me put it to you guys this way. Christian Ramirez is on the books for what, 525. You know who else is around that price range, Papa? Danny Musovski, who had a killer season with Seattle.
Moose had a great year, and I see Worship over there, you know, like banging his head back there. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that like does make you do that, where you see how, you know, your striker, and again, I ate massive crow on that one. You know, isn't getting it done, and then somebody at the same salary is like the Moose is, you know, banging in the goals. What did Musovski end up with? Like 18 or some shit like that?
I'm gonna have to look. Yeah, I'll but yeah, man, like, so like you look at those numbers and you say like value for money. Now, granted, Moose had a phenomenal year. I don't know if that's an anomaly or if that's, you know, I'd have to look at his career stats, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't had that level of output during his career. But again, Seattle was a good team and they unlocked his abilities. That's part of this too. It's like, did the Galaxy actually give Christian Ramirez a fair shot, or does he need like a more stable? Does he need a full off season and he needs
our brother Comments doesn't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because the thing is, like, he wasn't that bad for Columbus. Like, I don't know where the drop off came. Like, his drop off was huge, right? So again, we'll see. Like, well, Comment says he didn't get a fair shot. He only had four goals and one start with both DPs available. So it's one of those things where maybe the circumstances just wasn't right. But I think for the money, I'm surprised that there wasn't either a free agent or another deal out there. So anyways, that was my surprise. But I think, guys, like, my big takeaway from all this is, and I tweeted about this earlier today, which is, it's interesting to see that both Vanny and Will Kuntz are really putting stock on consistency and sort of letting this team grow, especially with the services of Ricky Puig now, to see, like, versus the opposite, which is blow it up, which is probably what a lot of fans are thinking right now, especially after you've had a historically bad season. And even, Worship said earlier about this idea of sell, right? So I think these roster moves today, or these decisions today, are promoting the idea that Greg and Will are banking on the idea of continuity, and that last year was more of an anomaly. Last year was a reflection, was not a fair reflection of what this team is capable of. And you know what this team was capable of, Rob? I think Tom Bogert tweeted this out today, which is, since July 1st, the Galaxy were 10-4-6, right? Which on a points per game match, that puts them right around fourth where Minnesota United was. So I think they're banking on the last half of the season and saying this is probably where this team is. And now you add a guy like Ricky Puig to that mix, and they're saying, okay, let's run it back. Let's see where this record can go, and move on from the 16-game losing streak. Because, like I said, I don't think the Galaxy, I've said this multiple times on the show, like, I don't think the Galaxy were prepared, whether it's mentally, physically, roster-wise, with all the fixture congestion, especially in the beginning of the year. So I think that's my big takeaway, man. It's just the consistency. Like, they're really banking on that. And I hope it works out for them, because I know where the Galaxy faithful is, or most of them anyways.
Well, now you and Worship have both used the word consistency, and something that the Galaxy need for next year. Well, I'm going to tell y'all the cheeseman. Do y'all want the cheeseman? Is it cheeseman time?
Bring it.
Vamos, nos vamos con el chisme. All right. So, these are just some of the things that I learned, and we learned at LA Galaxy Media Availability. I mean, props to the Galaxy Comms team, because they made every single player available to us, except Ricky. Right. He was announced, but he did not end up coming through, which prompts me to say, Ricky, hombre, no tengas miedo, no te vamos a hacer nada. Ven acá con nosotros a tu programa favorito, La Cuna Galaxiana. Aquí te vamos a tratar muy bien.
Te doy un plato en paella de mi mujer. Va.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, like I said, shout out Galaxy Comms, because every single player was there. Sans Ricky, but that's basically 2025. And like I mentioned, we spoke to Greg at length. It was about 50 minutes, and it was fascinating at times, because we got into some soccer philosophy. We pretty much asked about anything. So I will give you some tidbits, or some just quick things that I learned, and then, like, the three major things that I learned. That you guys feel free to ask me or stop me on anything, or, like, for clarity, Worship or Ananda, and chat if you have any questions on this as well. Let us know. I mean, like I said, we pretty much talked to everybody. We asked a ton of questions, and yeah. Anyway, so here we go. Some quick tidbits from Will. I don't know if he was serious about this or not, but he revealed to us that the Ricky hit him up and said he wanted to play against Minnesota, and he had to shut that down and be like, no, let's go ahead and keep with your rehab, right? From Tom Braun, who we also spoke to, he let us know that the season ticket members and the Galaxy faithful should be in for more renovations at the stadium, and all the season ticket members will get Landon's book in their season ticket member package next year. They're really leaning into the World Cup, obviously, for next year. The Digs will be the official training center for all the World Cup teams that will be playing in Los Angeles. So the U.S. men's national team, anybody else that is playing in Los Angeles at the World Cup, will be using the Digs as a training center. So I don't know if you guys want to, maybe that's an exclusive that no one else has put out there, but anyway, you guys can feel assured that any World Cup team that's here in Los Angeles or slated to play here in Los Angeles will be training at the digs, and you will have a chance to meet some of your favorite international stars, I guess.
Wow,
Tom,
that's huge. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Tom was also asked at length about the Galaxy's non-statement and subsequent fallout from the non-statement this year. And Scott French, our colleague, kind of hit it off, and he just asked him point blank if that was as a result of Philip Ancelot's, political leanings. And, Tom very wisely did not throw his boss and man who signs his checks under the bus, but kind of was more safe and walked the party line, and he emphasized the Galaxy's continued work in the community and their continued willingness to keep on engaging with the fans and hearing their voice, and also throwing days like Central American Heritage Night and stuff like that. Again, this is an answer from a high level executive, who is, very in tune with, the realities of, what the fan base wants, but also is limited by the needs and wants of his boss. And I can appreciate that. Now, he, again, was asked about this at length. I mean, I pretty much asked him, guys, because this is, something that has stuck with me since I had conversations with some of these folk, are on the day that I took the day off, and I took my brother-in-law, and we did pubs at the pitch. We were there pretty early, walking around and talking to different supporters, and they told me that day that the trust was gone. And I asked Tom about this, and I asked how they will they try to get that trust back. And he basically said it was kind of like a two-way street, that there's going to be moments where the club or the team rather is going to need that trust from them, and vice versa. But again, it for the most part, Tom said all the right things for sure. And I know he's really dedicated to listening to the supporter group. So again, limited by what he can say, but I feel like the man's intentions are good. So anyway, this one is from Greg. Ricky is not back in full training yet. He is participating in training, but he kind of likened it to having like a quarterback in American football who even has like a different jersey. People know not to tackle him and stuff like that. So he is participating in training, but he's not going full bore. He's not really doing the defensive work, not going into tackles and stuff like that. And also people aren't really going to tackles on him and stuff like that. So but here are the big things that I learned here, guys. These are the kind of the moments where I kind of felt like maybe Will and Greg, like maybe not singing from the same hymnal, right? Because 2/3 of the strike core that only combined for 7 goals is on the books for the Galaxy next year. And we did ask Will, how the negotiations were going for Nascimento to come back from Botafogo, and he said that they're trying to make that a loan deal. But when we spoke to Greg about this, it was pretty clear that he is pushing for a new number 9 in LA next year. I mean, he pretty much said, there will be a new number 9. I mean, it's again, it's true that the Galaxy have Ramirez on the books, but Greg was very, very definitive. He said that the Galaxy need a true number 9. He says that the Galaxy need a striker that is someone that will get between 15 and 20 goals for them next year, and that should be very possible from the service that he gets from the wings and from Ricky Puig. He really went into it, actually, and he said that the striker for the Galaxy needs to be somebody that is hungry, just like needs to score goals, has a passion for scoring goals, and just like goes crazy when he can't score, but then he also has to be able to be in the right spots and get to the right spots and have that ability. He says that right now the Galaxy have players that are either one or the other. So, I mean, you have players that he describes as good players, but he said about Christian Ramirez, for example, that he's not a stretcher of the field. He more waits for the ball to come to him. So, this Galaxy team, whatever it's going to look like, expect a new number 9 next year. I mean, this may be heralding the Luo signing that you want so badly, Ananda, because the man is going to be 39 or is 39, but he would get his goals here for this Galaxy team. The other big one that we learned is the Ananda, you touched on it. The Galaxy has this core coming back, but they really believe that Ricky's going to kind of make them contenders again as well. I just let you guys know about the striker thing, but Greg did say that they are going to still have a few new names to integrate into this team. He also did let us know that Dylan Vanny, Academy Player of the Year, has been training with the first team, and he got to play Proud Papa a couple for a moment and tell us about Dylan and actually his work with the academy. He said that his passion is in coaching, is in development, but like the games and trying to get 3 points and all that is part of the job, but his passion is in development. And he says that he's any chance that he gets, he's with the academy. So with all the core coming back and everything like that, I did ask Greg about the fact that they conceded 66 goals, and should we expect new faces, because in 2023 they conceded 67 and he made some changes, and he before I even finished my sentence, he was like, yes, you can't concede 66 goals and not do something different. And so we've already seen some of these roster decisions tell us that we will see some new faces in the back line. Zavaleta will be retiring, and of course Zonka is still under contract. But hot take, just between us Guneros and you guys here, Worship and Ananda, I actually don't think. Ooh, that's a shot for you, sir. But
I said it says for you.
I guess all three of us.
We'll split hairs.
You Worship and I will take a shot together. But I actually don't think
one more year until I'm 21.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Inca Cola for you, my friend. All right, no. Cola champagne for the homie Worship. But
that works.
Cola champagne is gangster. Delicious. But anyway, like I said, expect to see new faces in the back line. Expect to see a new Galaxy number 9 that, according to Greg, that man will get 15 to 20 goals. So that tells me that he's not going to be a scrub, and it's not going to be some no-name player. It's going to be a proven, tested player, which tells me that it might be one of those big name players that we're used to the Galaxy getting. Maybe they work some TAM magic. Maybe they have some money from somewhere else. But that's all telling me that.
But that's what's making me scratch my head. But anyways, I actually wanted to throw it to Worship. Hearing all that, what sticks out at you the most? Like the striker thing, the center back thing. Is this what you expected? What do you after hearing all that? What do you think?
What stuck out to me the most, like I said, is the fact that I don't think that that Greg and Will are like totally in sync, because when we let him know, like, hey, Will said you guys are negotiating with Botafogo, he didn't seem that enthused, and he was just like, sure, and like I said, so I don't think he's either all the way on board with Nasi, or I just think that he's fixated on the fact that he knows that he wants a new starting number 9. And he said it loud and clear.
Yeah. What do you think, Worship?
Well, this one's a hot take, but I think we should sell Gabriel Peck. Let me explain why. I know it's pretty hot, but I'm saying it because I feel like we need a DP9, right? For example, I would like to bring up Dejan Joveljic or Petar Musa from FC Dallas. You know, both of them great strikers. Both of them, I think they're both at 15 plus goals right now. Well, because their season's ended already, but they reached 15 plus goals. They're both very physical. They both know how to be hell for defenders. They both know, like, they're just great. And I feel like us having two wingers as DPs isn't helping us now. You know, I feel like Joseph Painso will be the guy that will be motivated to get that World Cup spot in the summer, because who wouldn't want to play in the World Cup? Am I right? But I think if we get a DP9, I think it would be much more easier for us to score goals. We can get an average right winger, but a striker, we've seen what happens when we get an average striker. You know, we've seen it with Nascimento, we saw it with Barry, and we saw it with Christian Ramirez. You know, I think we need a better 9, and I don't think you'll find that, you know, without a DP spot. And in terms for the defender situation, we need depth. You know, I think the left back position and the right back position are fine the way it is with Nelson, Aude, and then you have Mauricio Cuevas, and then you have Harbor Miller. I think let go of Yamane, because I think he's being paid $900K right now, and you could use one of the buyouts on him, and then, you know, invest that to the center back position, you know, to account for Maya Yoshida retiring, I see, in the next 2 years, if he stays that long. So I believe that there's many different factors, but my hottest take is definitely selling Gabriel Peck to get a DP9.
Yeah, I don't think that one's actually that hot. Worship. I think a couple Cuneros have actually posed that in chat. I'm not mad at it. You know, people have brought it up, and there's method to the madness for sure. You know, it makes sense why, you know, you would do that, or why you would go for that. And of course, you know, when you were talking about Miki, you reminded me of the homie Peyton, who also has been on the show. Shout out Peyton. By the way, Peyton, I need to re-up on my Flintstones vitamins. Yeah, no, he's brought that up as well, that he doesn't think that Miki Yamane should be a Galaxy player anymore, and that you know, Mauricio Cuevas and Harbor Miller are ready for that right back spot. But guys, we've spoken about the defenders that are leaving already. Zavaleta is one, and like I said, I don't think Zanka will be here next year. But buyout. Could the Galaxy buyout? Speaking of buyout,
how many buyouts does the Galaxy have? Is it 2, or how many?
I think it's 2. Mike Ray in the chat saying teams get 2 buyouts a season. So Zonka for sure.
Oh yeah, Zonka for sure. Oh
right. So
my uncle met Zonka, and I should not be laughing, but yeah, I think Zonka and Yamane
has not been good.
Yeah, and I feel like for Zonka's earning more than Yoshida, yet Yoshida has been miles better, and yet Yoshida didn't have the best of seasons this year either. So I think in terms of wages, letting go of Zonka and Yamane is just the way to go. And I apologize to Miki Yamane and Zonka, because I genuinely don't like being talking bad about players. You know, I try to be constructively critical, but it's just, there's just some things that it's just hard to do, and you just have to say how it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a business at the end of the day, you know.
I was going to provide just one counterpoint to the Miki thing, because I actually had to think about it. And if I think about how Greg likes to play his right backs, I'm talking about tactically now, what Greg sees. I think Miki is actually really important to what he does. If I think about the times that we were the best in 2024, was we would build out as a 3 and we played in a 3-2-5. Now, I don't think
he was the overload.
I don't think Harbor Miller and Cuevas that's not their strength, tucking into the midfield and providing sort of a double pivot cover with Edwin Cerrillo, and also even playing as a 3-1-6, and Miki sometimes when we're chasing games, jumping into that right side, creating those 3v2s with Gabriel Peck and Ricky Puig. And so I think technically Miki Yamane is a very good player. I think he's probably the most technically gifted out of all of our right backs, and I think there's a place for him in Greg's systems, especially in the way Greg wants to play with that 3-2-5 system. Again, I thought we were the best in 2024 when we played that system, because we had, even on the counter, we had basically two DMs, and then you had the speed of Garces in case there was a really, really good left winger, a la Denny Bwanga, for example, that we had to counteract against. So I am going to put that out there. Zanka, I cannot defend, but Miki, I will defend a little bit because I think it was just a down year for Miki, in my opinion.
Well, with those players leaving and potentially other defenders leaving, Ananda, who could be a veteran defender that the Galaxy could bring in? I wonder. Well, the transfer rumors have begun. Obviously, the Galaxy is out of the playoffs already, so it makes sense that they would be linked to players. But this player here is in your beloved Real Madrid Merengue shirt, Ananda, David Alaba. According to Spanish outlet Fichajes, Charlotte and NYCFC have both offered multi-million-dollar contract to the center back, about 1.75 million euros. He currently earns about 22.5 million euros per season, and Real Madrid are desperately trying to offload those wages as soon as possible. So, guys, would you take him at the Galaxy? This was a player that was one of the best defenders in the world at one point. Hasn't really seen a lot of the pitch recently, but Ananda, I think I'll start with you because you're the Madrid fan. What do you think? Would you take Alaba
over Zonka? 120%. Like, are you serious? like, bro, like it's a no-brainer for me. I understand that he's been injured basically the past 2 years. I think he missed basically all of 2024 after a torn ACL, and then I think he had a torn meniscus as well last year. So,
damn,
like he's been out. He's been out, right? But he's
my
33.
guy needs Olympia.
He's 33. He probably needs a change of scenery. His skill set, I mean, look, for MLS, his skill set's probably still there. He's a very, very technically gifted player. He's left-footed, which, Rob, we don't have a center back that's left-footed, if I'm not mistaken, on this team. And what's interesting about having a left-footed center back is it opens different passing lanes up. You could play a direct ball through the lines to Joseph Painsil, for example, on that left-hand side. It's something that we don't have right now. And Alaba is a very, very good ball playing center back, and he also again, for MLS, I think it's more than enough defensive capabilities. He's not the tallest, but he's very, very physically and technically gifted. And again, yes, he's a name, and yes, he's coming off an injury, but bro, over Zonka, 110%. Now the money, that's a whole nother conversation, but talent wise, quality wise, I'm in.
Get this is through Worship. What about you, man? Would you take somebody like David Alaba on the Galaxy?
Well, I support Real Madrid too, and let me say, Turf is going to kill this guy. Turf is going to kill this guy because he is already injury prone as it is, and skill level, yeah, and skill level. I mean, yes, if you compare him to Zonka, of course I would take him. But then when it comes to a money situation, if he can come for the same wage as Zonka, sign me up. But the issue is his injuries, and I have no doubt that if he goes anywhere else, not even just MLS, he's gonna get injured anyways. Because I feel like I think the aging and combined with the fact that he's gonna be playing in bad fields like turf because MLS don't care. I don't think I would take him at the Galaxy simply because he's injury prone and he would probably cost us a bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I think if the motivation is there, I think if I'm Will Kuntz and I go into the negotiating table and he's clearly shown, like, telling me that he's really motivated to get a fresh start, sort of, get back into a competitive spirit, like a competitive state. And he could sell me on the and Will Kuntz sells him on the project. I mean, why not? I would take the risk. It's a worthwhile gamble, in my opinion.
Yeah. Would he be a DP to you guys?
No, he would not. Yeah, definitely not. He would be a TAM player for me, max.
Oh, if he's a TAM player, absolutely, I would take him.
Yeah, like Marco Royce, for example, something like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've all said it. It's the money. If he could come and it's a reasonable amount, yeah, you have a a Champions League winning player. Why wouldn't you want him on your team, right? Just all the experience alone.
Yeah.
Before we get into these MLS awards, guys, we do have a super chat from the homie Adam. Adam, what's up? Thank you so much.
Thank you,
do
Baba.
you guys think Diego Fagundes will take a pay cut to return next season to the Galaxy? That's the big question.
$1 million question.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
literally, it's could be $1 million question because
yeah, that's true.
from 1.2, I mean, to whatever the negotiation is that they come to. I mean, in the towards the end of this this whole media availability thing, and I was lucky enough to be around some of the guys that have been covering the Galaxy forever. I mean, you had Josh there, Damien there, Scott there, Daniel from LA Times Espanol. So you really had these players. I mean, these guys have been covering the team forever, and so they told me that the most likely option is that they probably work something out, but they wouldn't be surprised either if Diego goes to a team like a San Jose, for example. Bruce loves his veterans. They go ahead, jump in, Worship.
Yes, you know what? If San Jose can take them off our hands, you know what? Fine, but they have to give us Chicho Arango.
I don't know if they're gonna exceed to that, but the guys we're talking about
interleague trade. It could.
No, I mean, I mean, I would take that as well.
Well, we've talked about the show that I think for him to take the pay cut, he would need more years. So like a 2-year or 3-year, like guaranteed money, essentially. And I seems to me that he's pretty settled in LA. I think he would be open to that again for more years. I think that would be that's probably what they're discussing at the moment. Adam has another question here, Rob.
Hey, Adam with another super chat. Thank you.
Another question: will Zonka be with the Galaxy at the beginning of this next season? My opinion, hopefully not. Hopefully he gets bought out. I think that's the hope, but we don't know. We don't know that for sure.
Yeah, man. Adam, like I said, I think that's my hot take of the day is that I don't think based off what Greg let us know, the back line is going to look completely different. And he's already told us that which players that he has a lot of stock built into by process of elimination. It's for me, it's Zonka. That's not going to be with the Galaxy next year. Probably a buyout, but who knows? I mean, they might get another MLS team to buy it. Who knows? Speaking of MLS, it's time for the MLS Awards. Tristan Blackman is your Defender of the Year. Sonny gets the Goal of the Year. And the boys from Soccer and 60 talked about this a little bit, and I think everybody's in agreement that a routine free kick is not the Goal of the Year, but we digress.
Yep.
Leo Messi wins the Golden Boot. Roman Solentano gets Save of the Year. Nick Hagelin is Comeback Player of the Year. Alex Freeman is the Young Player of the Year. And who knew that they did such things? Drew Fisher is the Referee of the Year.
What?
I will boo too.
Yeah. I don't know how they decided that or why they give an award for Ref of the Year. Is that a thing? I guess so.
What's the criteria? What did they just go like? Oh, whoever gives the most penalties to LAFC and Inter Miami gets it, or like?
Yeah.
Who knows? I mean, the guy who gets the least amount of complaints against him. I'm not sure, but in any case, Drew Fisher won this year. Congratulations to him. At least it wasn't Jared Marufo or somebody like that. It could have been worse, guys. Awards still to come. MVP, Coach of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year, Drive Progress Impact Award, and MLS Best 11. Well, guys, we know pretty much that no Galaxy players will be on this. So I mean, we'll update you on this, but sad times. No Galaxy players will be on it. we have another super chat from the homie Adam. He says, who's goalkeeper of the year? That one is still yet to come, Adam. Goalkeeper of the year has not been announced, but we will let you know as soon as it does break. And then, speaking of awards, we're going to get into the LA Galaxy official awards segment. But before that, we do want to remind you guys to subscribe to this show, this channel. Like, subscribe, let us know what's up, let us know what you're liking, let us know what you would like to see more of. And then really quick, before we get into the awards, Worship, let us know where we can find you, and what you got coming up.
Well, you can find me on WorshipLAGalaxy on Instagram. I did recently expand to TikTok, and well, what I'm planning is I'm actually planning on going professional. I'm actually, distancing myself from memes, even though that's what, made my, my platform. But, there's opportunities that I've seen that could actually work in my favor for sports media. So that's primarily the reason why I'm probably going professional next year. And I'm making preparations like new equipment and stuff like that to get better. So I can actually, get those sporting media opportunities.
Yeah, Rumble, young man, Rumble. We do need more.
Godspeed,
we do need more Latinos in sports media. So yeah, man, like Ananda said, Godspeed. Yeah, we'll be here every step of the way for you as well, man. So you have a couple of older Theos here that can guide you a little bit. Anyway, guys, like I mentioned, this is the moment. Hit that subscribe. Ananda will take a shot with you. He promises. Anyway, let's get into these end of the year Galaxy Awards. Guys, I figured the way we would do this is give you the official Galaxy Awards as voted on by the press corps. I got to vote in this one. It was interesting. I don't think that I got one. I think I voted differently on every single one, but
interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, by the team, the official year of the official awards here, our player of the year is Diego Fagundes. Defensive player of the year was John Nelson. The Golden Boot was JP, and humanitarian of the year was Mo Cuevas. And then, of course, Academy player of the year was Dylan Vanny. And now it's time for ours, Ananda. Since we do have a guest today, we'll let him go first. Worship, who is your player of the year, Galaxy player of the year for 2025?
Well, I think it is hard because everyone has been inconsistent this year, but I will say Joseph Paintsil, Golden Boot winner. I think you should give him the player of the year award.
See, that's actually the way I voted too, Ananda. I mean,
interesting. Just based off of the goals.
No. My rationale is that player of the year is for me is kind of like the team MVP, right? The most valuable player. And then down the stretch first the Galaxy started to look much better when Joseph came back into the lineup. He was kind of like that lifeline that allowed them to stretch the team a little bit, other teams a little bit more. Then when he started producing towards the end of the season, I mean, it was his goals and his assists that were kind of keeping the Galaxy afloat. So I don't think it's just like the number of goals. It was when they were happening. I think the League's Cup was a good indication of just the kind of player he is. Just with other teams couldn't deal with him, right? So when Joseph is on, he's a force. He's tough to deal with, and so yeah, for me, again, he's the player of the year. And when Ricky comes back next year, again, keep in mind he scored 10 goals and had 5 assists this year, only 5 less than last year when Ricky was on the pitch, right? So his production only went down by 5 assists because he didn't really have that striker. We've spoken about it, right? Dayon, what do you have last year? About 17. Sure, about I would be willing to bet that 5 of those were probably from Joseph, right? So when Ricky comes back next year, expect Joseph's production to come back up as Worship mentioned he's going to be playing his butt off because he wants to make that Ghana squad play here in Los Angeles, potentially in one of those World Cup matches. What a treat that'd be for him. So anyway, that was my player of the year was Joseph for all those reasons. But you don't seem to be in agreement. So Worship and I have Joseph. Who do you have?
Yeah, honestly, well, I'm gonna make a case too. This isn't mine, but I could have made a case for Marco Reus. If you look at statistically, guys, like Marco Reus per 90, he had the best goals and assists, 0.79 per 90. This is based off of minutes, right? So you look at things on a per 90 basis. He had the best underlying stats, non-penalty XG plus expected assists, so expected goal involvement. He had the best. So I mean, statistically, like Marco Reus was actually, and if you think about that stretch, now we unfortunately didn't win more games than we should have because we dropped them in the most horrible ways possible, whether it's a howler from Emilio Garces at San Diego, the howler that we talked about against Philly, etc. So, but carried us through that stretch, guys, and especially coming out of that 16-game winless stretch. I mean, he really did. He was the guy that made things happen. You think about the game-tying even goal against LAFC, free kick, to make that 2-2 at home. There was a lot of moments this season, and we can't forget about Marco Reus. I think maybe a little bit of the recency bias is going to. So, but you know what, guys? At the end of the day, for me, the best ability is availability, and Diego played the most minutes out of all the attackers this year. 2,400 minutes, up there with Gabriel Peck. His production was great. I mean, he was a leader both on and off the pitch. Like we can't say nothing more about Diego Fagundes. And I think statistically, I mean, again, remember, he wasn't really playing as a forward. He was playing as a midfielder. To have the production that he did, 8 goal contributions from that deeper lying midfield position, I think that's something we commend him for. So I think for me, I agree with the panel, actually. I agree with Diego Fagundes.
All right. Well, how about for defending player, defender of the year, defending player of the year? Worship, who do you got?
I like John Nelson. I think, he should stay. I'm really deeply thinking about it because, he was kind of rotated with Aude. I think Aude played more minutes. I'm not sure if I'm right on that, but the defender of the year, it's a very difficult choice because there's many. My defender of the year would definitely be Zanka.
Interesting.
I'm joking. I'm only joking. I think
what you really meant to say was Zavaleta.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. Zavaleta. Yeah, he was our defender of the year. Like the minutes he played against Minnesota, like we gotta think of those minutes. We have to take them into consideration. Obviously,
quality minutes,
quality over quantity. Like, and that's exactly what we need. Nah, but in all seriousness, I think our defender of the year, I would say Garces. Every time he's played, I think he's been our most consistent defender out of everyone.
I agree for most of it. I also picked Garces, but I think even he would tell you that he didn't start the season in the best way. But I think that therein kind of lays the argument for him, because when he did come into form, the Galaxy's defense looked much better. There were several moments where this man saved the Galaxy, just like in that match against Dallas, where they were up a man, and this guy Garces had to close down the FC Dallas player. I mean, that just goes to show you this kind of player. But anyway, for me, it was Emilio Garces. Ananda.
Yeah. He also locked away Alexis Vega in Campeones Cup. The only reason why we ended up losing was because of routine set pieces. Garces was very solid that game.
Yeah. I mean, he usually is. I mean, it was kind of weird to see him start the season in that way. But Ananda, do you agree? Worship and I both have Garces. Who do you got?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I would have said, I mean, Garces is clearly the best defender on our team. it's just the errors, man. Like the blunders that he makes sometimes. Like, you know, how bad was he, guys, in that New York Red Bull loss? Like, Rob, we were there to see it. Like, he was awful that game, right? So it's like, I guess you take the good with the bad with Garces, but when he's good, he's really, really good. He's clearly our best defender. So honestly, I'm not going to split too many hairs. I can go with Garces or John Nelson. I mean, John Nelson is a steady Eddie. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but maybe towards the end of the season, he showed us a little bit of offensively. I mean, guys, is there a case for Maya Yoshida? I mean, I know he hasn't had the best of seasons, but there were certain games where he had to be that bedrock back there. He's statistically, he leads the team in blocks per 90. He had those 2 game tying goals at the end. You know, when we need him as an auxiliary forward, you know, we can put him up there. I don't know. Maybe there's a case for him. I wouldn't go there, maybe, but maybe there's a case. But yeah, Garces or John Nelson. I'm not gonna split hairs.
Mira, Papa, I'll tell you exactly from the horse's mouth. Maya Yoshida went out there and told us that he was disappointed with his year. He did not play he did not play up to his standard, and in fact, he said, and this might be another exclusive for y'all. He said that if he had the kind of season that he had this year, that he would leave. I don't know if that means the game or the Galaxy, but he said it like 2 or 3 times. If I have the kind of season, I'll leave. And I was like, damn, like he told us that he completely changed up his training regimen, his diet, and everything like that into the off season because he's dedicated to having a knockout season next year.
Well, let's also put into perspective, guys, that we're talking about a defender of the year conversation for a team that just shipped 66 goals. Let's just put that into context.
Truth. Yeah. When you take that into consideration,
so, like I said, split hairs. Sure.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's go on to rookie of the year. I don't know if you would call it rookie of the year, but newcomer of the year.
Yeah.
Who would you guys pick? Worship. Who do you have?
I've been waiting for this moment. The newcomer of the year, Harbor Miller.
Okay.
He interacts a lot. He interacts a lot with me, so that's why that's kind of my bias. But this guy, first game that he played as a left wing, everybody was questioning Vanny. Everyone, and then I think he scored. That game, the Colorado game. Did he score? I think he did. But Harbor Miller came in as a right back, and then was forced to play left wing, and then he actually made it work. And then he even played against Toluca. Like I think. Once he came into the Galaxy, he immediately locked in, and that's my award for newcomer of the year.
What about you, Anandita?
I was going to say, do you agree with that, Rob, or do you have someone else?
Ooh, I don't know. I can I cop out and say like I have 2. He's one of them.
Sit on the fence. Go for it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, it's him and just like the homie El Tráfico Radio, aka Mike Ray, aka Miki says, I'm partial to Winder myself. Yeah, sure, Elijah didn't start the season in the best way, but when he showed us the kind of player that they bought him for, like it's evident that he's going to be a good player for the Galaxy, hopefully anyway. He has a lot of promise, I think, and so for me, newcomer of the year right there.
I'm actually gonna go completely different than both of you guys, and maybe this is like my partial bias towards why I think we should bring him back, and I'm gonna make a case for Nacimiento, guys. Like I feel like when the Galaxy were at their best this year, good things happened when Nacimiento became that focal point at number 9. Like he's got an interesting mix of ability, I think, with his back to goal game. I mean, he's physical enough to hold off MLS defenders, especially those big center backs, but he's also got the Brazilian flair. He's also got that link up ability that Dejan was so good at the top of the box. That's what Greg really likes, especially with his types of patterns of play in the offensive third. And clearly he can be a good finisher. You saw that finish at the last game of the season. I mean, that was a clean strike. That was a clean finish, right? I think the problem with Nasi this year, he just didn't get enough of a consistent run, whether that was due to injury or, again, remember, he came into the season late. He did not have a preseason. He came into the season basically having to train with a team, and I'm not sure how much time he had with Botafogo either. So I think Nasi for me is an enigma, and to bring him back next year, I think for me, like, I think it's an interesting proposition because he's already got a year under Vanny, and now it's like you think about the opportunity cost or the other option, which is you bring in a completely new guy and hope he fits into Vanny's system versus a guy that's already been in Vanny's system for a whole year and kind of understand those patterns of play. On top of this is an X factor thing, but the fact that Juninho is there, I think is a huge help, especially to all the Brazilian players. I mean, Juninho is a very, very constant sort of presence in that locker room, and I think he does. I think he does add a lot to sort of or contribute a lot to the growth, especially the younger players. So yeah, I'm gonna make a case for Nasi.
All right. Well, that's your prerogative, sir. Young player of the year. That's under 22. Worship, who you got? Oh, by the way, I should tell you the U22
the options. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We have Julian Aude. We have Marisa Cuevas, Harbor Miller, Lucas Sanabria, Elijah Winder, Mateus Nascimento, and Ruben Ramos Jr.
I guess you could pick Harbor again.
I could, but that would just completely show my bias for Harbor Miller. But I think I'm gonna agree with Lars and say Mauricio Cuevas.
Okay, let's go Mauricio Cuevas. What about you, Nanda?
Yeah, I kind of like that shout. I kind of like that shout a lot. I think we've talked to Dan Couchman when we coached that game, Rob. We talked to Greg about Mauricio's growth all year. He's just becoming a very, very good player, and he is pushing Yamane for that starting right back berth, right? Like, and that's a good position to be. I think his growth from last year to this year has been great, and that's what you want as kind of the young player of the year. Like at that age bracket, it's like, am I going to start breaking into the first team? I look at some of those other players, Sanabria, Winder. Sanabria just, again, whether it's through injury or inconsistent, like Greg didn't give him enough playing time for whatever reason. Winder took him a while to build up, and we only saw bits of him towards the end of the season. But if you look at the totality of the season, for me, it's between Harbor Miller and Cuevas, and I'm going to give it to Cuevas, like Worship said. I agree with Lars on that one. What about you, man?
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for his versatility and his ability to be called upon by Greg and be dependable for the most part. He was asked today, where he thinks his strengths are, and he pretty much said, I put the balls in the box, man. So
yeah, he's the guy that sends he was the only guy who sent crosses into the box. Yeah. Like, he's the only one who could lift it up. And this is baffling to me that this team doesn't do that. I feel like, this, pulling back to Nascimento, Greg Vanny and, his tactics don't trust the number 9. They don't trust him, which is why Nascimento hasn't had many goals. They had complete faith in Jovic, and why wouldn't you? It was Jovic. And, I think we need more players that can cross the ball into the box. No fear of hitting it outside the box. No fear of crossing it into the box, hoping for someone to header. And I think that's what we needed. And I think that's why I gave my shout to Cuevas, because I think we need more players like that who can pose more dangerous threats as just balls on the floor. I think we need more crosses and more shots outside the box.
You know what? I'm not gonna disagree with a lot of that. We're gonna go most improved player now. This one was tough.
Well, I think I'm gonna go with the same answer, because I can't think of, other than like who's taken the biggest step up. I mean, last year we didn't see much of Harbor Miller, so I don't know if he's part of that conversation. I mean, because it's like everyone's regressed, like for the most part, right? Like Joseph Painsel's number was numbers were down. Gabriel Peck's numbers were down. Edwin. So guys, a player that we haven't talked about is Edwin Cerrillo. And I think this year, I don't know if he's regressed, but he just didn't have the same impact that he had in 24.
Well, he had to adjust his game. I mean, when you have Ricky Puig alongside you, a lot of that is reacting to taking up the space that Ricky is
and Mark
not,
Delgado.
Right? Exactly, and Mark Delgado, right? So he, from one year to the next, lost both midfield partners, and he had to change his game, be more responsible for carrying more of the ball and getting it higher into higher areas as well. So, I mean, I get where you're going with this. Like he didn't have the best year. I think even he would tell you again, like he wasn't satisfied with his year. I don't know if you would use the word regression, but he definitely didn't have the year he had in 2024.
Yeah, he didn't build on it.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I think when you have a midfield, when you go from a midfield from Ricky Puig and Bergman/Delgado, you're gonna to a midfield of Fagundes, Royce, and with Fagundes and Royce, you're gonna struggle because both of them, they're not fast paced. And Ricky Puig, he was the guy that would come down, get the ball from Cyril, move up the field. Cyril would follow him back, would follow him if needed, and then Ricky Puig would do that. But Marco Royce, what I noticed heavily in the second half of the season, which is why I started to not have favorability for him, is that when he received the ball, he wasn't quick. He's not quick. What he usually does is that he holds the ball, dribbles it a little bit. When you're trying to counterattack, that is a big no. You're supposed to like be quick. You're supposed to send it over. And I don't doubt Royce's intelligence, but when you're a fast-paced team like the Galaxy, like they were last year, giving it to Royce wasn't ideal, and that's what made Surreal look bad. When you have Royce next to you, you're going to look bad because you have to count for everything. You have to count for all of the midfield because you're the backbone. And then all of the criticism lands on you when Royce and Fagundes don't play well. So I think Surreal needs to be cut some slack because I think he's had the most work out of everyone in this team.
So Worship, I think Anand and I are pretty much in agreement though that I at least I'm not giving a most improved player. Ananda, I don't know about you, but
Cuevas for me.
Cuevas.
Absolutely, Cuevas or Miller.
Yeah, well, either or, but now Harbor's got to come on the show. You got to let him know. Come on, Lacuna, man. But yeah,
let's see what I can do.
Nice, man, nice. Yeah, no, I don't think any player like really just take a step up, and so I don't feel like in good conscience I can give a most improved player. Like I said, if I had to give one, like someone was like, you have to pick one, I guess I would pick Mauricio. He did show his versatility this year, but nah, I mean, the stuff here. Now we're gonna end with our defending the badge, which for me is the most important award here. But this, mind you guys, is not about who was the best player, who put in the hardest tackle, or who scored the most goals. This one is about who showed the most love for the crest, for the badge, for the colors, who exuded being LA Galaxy and actually caring and giving a damn about the team. Just somebody that cares about having the shirt on. Worship. We'll start with you, man.
Ricky Puig. No, I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, he was the biggest cheerleader this year, but
I mean, you do not make a bad point. I mean, he was there. I mean, at a lot of different games. But yeah, I don't know if it's valid if you want it.
No, I'm joking. I think in this scenario, Diego Fagundes, this guy will, he will get into many fights. He will fight for the. I genuinely think Fagundes, because
he literally will. Yeah,
he's Uruguayan. He will fight for any badge. He fought for it in Austin. I don't know where he was before that, but he will. Uruguayans love to fight for the badge, and Fagundes is no exception.
I think that's a unanimous decision from all of us, Rob.
Yeah, I was going to say Diego as well. I mean, we just said it. I mean, he will literally fight you if you come out after one of his teammates. You know, and he was on this pod, and maybe that's us showing our bias now. But yeah, he was on this pod, and you know, he always makes himself available. He made himself available always to the press after a bad loss, after, when they were on a high, when they were on a low. You know, he gets it, and he gets what it is to be an LA Galaxy player for me anyway. And I really hope he stays. So
yeah, exactly. Which is why I want him on this team, right? We need guys like that. We need 11 players like that, but he gets it the most, and we need those types of characters, those glue guys in the locker room. And again, like this year he played like 2,400 minutes. I don't expect him to play that many minutes or us to give him that much of a load. I mean, remember, guys, like Marco Royce and Diego Fagundes were coming off the bench in 24 in our title winning season. I think that goes to show just the depth that we need to build around the team to sort of give us that flexibility, right? But again, goes back to the roster discussion that we were having just a second ago.
Yeah, well, that pretty much wraps it up for us, guys. I mean, I know we've kept you here a little bit longer than normal, but thank you very much for sticking with us, and thank you for our guest, Worship LA Galaxy today. We do appreciate you stopping by, man. Let us know one more time. Let the chat know one more time where they can find you.
Well, I will say it again, and I'm happy to say it again. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, at WorshipLAGalaxy. It was a huge honor being on this podcast. You know, I actually thought about making my own podcast, but I'm like, nah. You know, I think I thought against it simply because I think, well, no, you guys are the best. You know, Corner of the Galaxy as well, Talking Galaxy. Shout out all of them. I wouldn't want to be a competitor. I would probably, be better off as a guest because I like being a guest. Makes me feel special. But but yeah, I thank you very much for being cool with me being on the show. And I'm very excited to see if I can be on many more episodes.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's funny that you mentioned that, because I mean, for us, like, I always tell Rob this, like, I'm of the mindset of the rising tide lifts all boats, right? And we're all in this together. We all help each other out. I mean, the more of yourselves and us, the more opinions are out there from different,
and covering this team,
because obviously we come from a different perspective. I mean, even like I was in the stands, and I just recently like started being a little bit part of the media corps, but I think it's great that there's so many different viewpoints from all sections of the fan base, and especially you're basically like a representation of the new breed of Galaxy fans, and this is like, what's the saying, Rob? Like, I don't know if it's like passing the torch or whatever that is, like from generation to generation, right? That's what it's all about. Like, and obviously you and Talking Galaxy, you guys represent like a new generation of fans. So I think the more we can help each other out and the more we could share with this community, I think the better for it.
Yeah, man. And if you have a dream, man, like, you're like, should I do a pod? Like, yeah, man, if you have that inkling, try it out once or twice. If you dig it, keep on doing it. If you don't dig it, man, like, then you stop. But like Ananda said, man, I mean, there's definitely room for all these creators, man. We some of our best friends in Galaxylandia are the fellow podcasters and stuff like that. So yeah, man, you should definitely do what you feel, man. No te limites. So
yeah, pretty much do my own takes on usually after games. I usually, I'm not sure if you guys seen it, but I usually do my own takes after games, and I don't sugarcoat it, because the thing is, I try to be as unbiased as I can be. If something is great, I will mention it. I will give the flowers. But if something's going wrong, I'll be constructively critical, because I feel like there's a difference between being constructively critical and straight up harassing a player, because I don't think the players deserve harassment. I think they deserve critiques on how to be better, because I think it is seen more favorably. And that's what I'm striving to be, with more of these podcast takes and more of these videos that I'm posting.
Yeah.
Nah, man, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's got to be like measured reaction, and I think you've picked up on that, and so for us anyway, like this, you mentioned it. I mean, and I'm gonna say it. I mean, this is probably not going to be the one and only time you guys will see WorshipLAGalaxy here on this podcast. Like Ananda said, we do have so many talented people in the Galaxy line, different viewpoints on Galaxy dumb, if that's not even a word, but I guess I just coined it. But yeah, in that regard, we do have one more super chat to finish us off here before we end.
Shout out Primo Matthew.
Shout out to the Primo. He said, part of the season, La Cuna Galaxiana. Thank you, man. We're just trying to,
Thanks, man.
put out some fun times for the
Blessings.
homies, Los Cuneros, and everybody that watch the show. But yeah, I think that kind of sews us up, Ananda. After about a week off, this one again ran a little long, and we do appreciate you guys sticking with us. Do you have anything else to add before I take us on home?
Take us on home, Papa.
All right, next on this humble little podcast you call La Cuna Galaxiana on Monday, November 3rd. Join us as we start to hand out player grades categorized by position, obviously. So we'll start with the goalkeepers and defenders, and we'll do them first. And come by and we'll hand out some grades. You can hand out some grades of your own. And I don't know if you guys remember season 1 where we did something similar. So we'll go ahead and break down, how much these players cost or how much they are making, and what kind of contribution they had for the Galaxy this year. But we'll get into everything on Monday, and then a week from today, on Thursday, November 6th, we'll keep the party going by tackling the midfielders and seeing what grades they received for 2025. And we do have another super chat. Yay! Thank you so much, XPH. He said,
shout out XPH, man.
Man, shout out XPH. He says, missed the episode. Wanted to give a shout out to Mike Gray, Comment Sign 6, Scott, Gary, one and only Rocio.
There you go.
Yeah, man. We missed you, XPH. And for everybody that we haven't seen in the past week, we missed you too.
Yeah.
We hope to be with you guys again very, very soon. We'll see you on Monday. And only one thing left to say, right, Ananda?
Yeah. Other than you guys can always catch this episode on playback on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all of your audio dispensaries. And like Rob said, subscribe. And now there is only one thing left to say.
Subscribe.
Let's get it. All right. Here we go. One thing left to say. Jesus.